All right. So if you were to ask any college student what they were going to school for or why they wanted to attend college, they would probably tell you that it's an avenue of getting an education in something they want to do in the future. And so they could have a social and multicultural experience where they could get to know students outside of this classroom atmosphere and in extracurricular activities or parties where they could relax after studying. After hearing that, you would assume that college is an experience where students get a couple of different teaching styles, both paternalistic and progressive. In contrast, can you imagine going to a school that didn't offer any sports, specifically football? That the school didn't offer it because it believed, and I quote, that the purpose of the university is nothing less than to procure a moral, intellectual, and spiritual revolution throughout the world. That believed, and I quote again, football, fraternities, and fun have no place in the university, that they were only introduced to entertain those who shouldn't be in the university, end quote. I couldn't. I've always grown up in schools that were very proud of their athletic programs and the students involved with the programs. Robert Hutchins, on the other hand, didn't. He believed it and changed the educational system towards his beliefs. As a quick biography of Robert Hutchins, he was born on January 17th, 1899 in New York, and was raised in Ohio. He was a brilliant man. He went to college when he was 16 years old, enlisted in the Army for a short time, and came back and graduated from law school at Yale University. When he received his law degree in 1925, he was hired on as a professor, and a couple years later, in 1928, promoted to the dean, or promoted as a dean at the law school there. After being dean for a time, he became a chairman for the Ford Foundation and later founded the Center for the Study of Democratic Institutions in Santa Barbara, California. He had a successful life, but there are just a series of things that really stand out as accomplishments from his time. First, he reorganized how we viewed degrees. He kind of separated the master's and a bachelor's program to where bachelor programs could be a little more specific rather than generalized like an associate's degree. Second, he replaced grades with comprehensive exams, which I absolutely love. The fact that rather than worrying about grades and focusing more on do you really understand the subject. Third, and much to the students' chagrin, he eliminated varsity football at the school, and that wasn't always great. It was just due to the fact that the football team hadn't been doing very well, and so it easily got the support it needed to kind of get rid of that. Fourth, he restarted the Great Books Club, which was an amazing opportunity to just kind of learn more about the books and literacy that was in that time. And fifth, helped in the publications of the great books of the Western world and the Encyclopedia Britannica. Sixth, he promoted freedom in an educational setting. This was around World War II, where just the fact that the atomic bomb and everything was kind of being constructed in the area, and just wanting to know, just wanted to promote that freedom. And lastly, he talked extensively on the ideals of the American people and how it shaped the educational system. This was really interesting because you hear all the time that it's teachers changes kind of the views and the curriculums, and that the state boards, that they can change kind of the school policies and, again, the curriculums studied in those classes. Hutchins was different. He viewed changes as possible through the people. He wrote an interesting paper regarding how American ideals shape the American education, that the wants and needs of Americans shape how we look at education and how it can help us attain those wants and needs. He said the educational system that any country has will be the system that country wants. It will be, in general, adapted to the needs and ideals of that country as they were interpreted at any given time. The fundamental proposition which I wish to advance is that whatever is honored in a country will be cultivated there. A means of cultivating it is the educational system. You may be sure, therefore, that the American educational system will be engaged in the cultivation of whatever is honored in the United States. Um, I wanted to repeat that last part too, that a means of cultivating that, or the American ideals, is the educational system. Hutchins goes on to explain that one of the main American ideals is money. He goes on to list that a couple others are freedom and material goods. But he focuses a lot on the money, where he goes, um, just that it is one of the American ideals. I mean, we want money, we hope for money, we work for money, we make a living with money. As American people, we pretty much worship it. That being said, our educational system reflects it. To go to school, we need money, but to get a job and to be qualified for a job, to get more money, and to be considered for raises, we need to go to school. I mean, it's linked to just that kind of joke of, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Um, and it's interesting to see just kind of the link between the two of them. But Americans and students see education as not only a way to grow in knowledge and expand our minds, but it's an avenue towards something that will bring us money to make a living, or to earn more money. This is very influential because we're right in the middle of it. We are going to school to become qualified for a job that will provide a steady income. That Hutchins' view has broadened my own understanding of how I can help shape minds, and how really to cultivate those American ideals. Um, and I think in a teaching position, that helps better educational systems. As teachers, we can help change these American ideals. We as a people shape our education. It doesn't shape us because our educational systems are shaped in a way that benefits us. If an educational system is frustrated or becomes something we don't agree with, or like, we need to look to the people because it's shaped and formed after their desires and ideals. I look forward to that as a teacher. Robert Hutchins gave me a whole new kind of concept that I don't have to, I don't know what the right wording is. I don't have to teach, um, say, the right curriculum. Uh, I don't know how to describe it. Just the idea that I can help shape and, um, engage minds, that you can shape it towards something better if you're having a hard time in that educational system where you're at. Um, and I just think that's awesome. He was very paternalistic. He focused a lot on being very just firm and all work, no play. And I feel like that benefited him and the school for a time. Um, and I had an enjoyable time kind of researching him and learning more about what his influence was on our educational system. And I feel like it's changed a lot. And I had a great time learning about him.